everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Motivate with Coach Camp. I, of course, am your host, Coach Camp, and we are here in these brand new illustrious in 2025 studios of SRP with Mr. Derek Me Show. Okay, all right, let me give you a little groundwork here. I want to let you guys know what you're about to step into, because in 2025, lots of things, possibilities is what I'd like to refer to them as, are coming your way. In 2025, every time you have a new year, you want to look at that as a great opportunity to take advantage of your life. Well, here comes some stuff. I've got two guests today, and they're going to share that. They're life coaches. They're health coaches. They are nutritionists. They are doing the things in their life that has to take a lot of mental focus, self-discipline. They got to get up every day and have an intentional approach to their day in order to make things happen, but not just for themselves. They're doing this for other people. And I would imagine coming into 2025, some of you had these health ideas. We're probably at that point now into January where, you've held out for 2 weeks and now you're starting to back off some. Maybe you're losing interest. You're losing focus. Well, I thought to myself, what better than to bring in two folks? And look, I didn't just go out and find two individuals. I found a person up in Philadelphia, okay? Philadelphia, PA. That's where Rocky was taped, baby. Running the stairs. So you guys are going to love this. You're going to love the energy. We're about to bring some absolute thunder to you. So sit down. You're going to get some workout tips, some nutritional tips, some motivational tips. This guy's a ball of energy. I got to meet him on the blocks on that TV show. Man, that thing brought more people into my life than anything I could ever imagine. The show was what it was. It was the people that made it matter. And I cannot wait for you guys to meet these folks. So today I have with me Miss Kelly Hand and Mr. Ovi Ilica. They are collaborators. They work together. She's great in social media. She's a nutritionist. He's a health nut. He works out stuff. And I'm going to tell you something. He's got words just like me. So at this time, I want to introduce to you Mr. Ovi and Miss Kelly. Welcome to the Motivate with Coach Camp podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's great that we actually finally get to do it. It's been a while, but we're here, so we're going to get it done.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
man, it's been busy, man. You guys have been popping. Kelly, and welcome. So I didn't get to meet you on the blocks. So it's good to get to meet you here on this network of Zoom.
I meet you as well.
Network of Zoom. I like it.
Hear some things about the blocks, and I watched the episode with Ovi so far. So yeah.
It was an interesting experience, wouldn't you say, Ovi?
It was definitely interesting. I want to go back just for the business aspect of it. Forget the show part, forget all that other stuff. Just the learning part, right? I think that was the most awesome part. After a while, you forget the cameras are even there. So it's just like you're at a conference at a hotel, right? You're just talking to people in business or entrepreneurial. Some are in the same industry, some are not, right? But it was the same idea. We all just wanted to learn what to do next, how to do it, how to make it bigger, how to attract more audience, right? So forget the show part of it. I would go back for all the other stuff. But I don't even remember the cameras after a while.
I'll agree with you on that. The networking was important. I like all the different diverse ideas and thoughts that people brought to the table. And you're right about one thing. It didn't matter what your business was. It was the struggle of entrepreneurship in general. And we all had that in common. And I think that was really a building block for sure.
Yeah, because, you left there and you either made something or you left there and you hit a wall. Either way, right? Or both, right? So and that's something that everybody talked about, right?
You're
so whether it was 100 businesses, 150, 20, 30, right? All of them hit all those points, right? So it wasn't like, oh, we leave here and now everybody's just successful and we've made it. We're good, right? No. Like you came back, and even if you implemented everything, doesn't mean anything actually happened, right? Because just like we're about to talk about here, and we're going to touch on it, I'm sure, right? The consistency over time, it doesn't really matter if you do it for a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely correct.
So like over time, whether it's this year or next year or 6 months from now, something's going to click. Yeah. But you just got to do the same things over and over until something gives. So same idea.
Consistency is key. There's a quote that I love. It says that water cuts a hole through the rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. And if that is not true, I don't know what is, my friend. Think about the Grand Canyon was carved out from water, but it took a lot of time.
Yeah.
Well, someone was sitting there with a saw.
Well, there was that. Who knows? I wasn't around back then. That's a fact.
How many saws do we need? Oh, we need a lot.
We're gonna need a lot of saws, guys.
We need a lot of saws.
So let's start out with you, Ovi. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up. Where are you from?
So originally, I'm from Romania, right? Okay. And some people hit on the accent, some people don't. But I came here when I was 9. Right, and I tell the story, especially now that I'm into fitness. I think I wanted to do this since I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
And we've talked about this.
Yeah.
And it didn't click until like recently, really. Back, but anyway, we'll get into that. But anyway, so born in Romania, I came here when I was 9. Shortly but surely, I was a small little guy, right? Always into liking the guys with muscles, the fighting, karate movies, Jean-Claude Van Damme, like Rambo, stuff like that, right? Arnold. And I say that because in Romania, we collected those types of cards. Here, you probably did baseball cards, right?
Right,
Football
I
cards,
did.
whatever. Back then, I had a little notebook of like Rambo and Van Damme and all that nonsense, right? So muscles, right? All that. So coming here, yeah, I got into business and all of that because you go to college, you want a mansion, you all that stuff, right? And then things change, life changes. You want to do different things. I was always into fitness, and now looking back at it, I should have just done it since I was freaking 6 years old. Because I'm looking back at all of the stuff that led to all of this.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the muscles, I wanted to step on stage, I wanted to compete like Arnold, right? I wanted all of that. So coming here and having a chance to now actually do it when I saw an opportunity to leave the business industry, like from banking world, in banking, I just took it and I just kind of rolled with it.
Let
And
me
I
ask
think
you,
because you do it with a different passion, it kind of worked out.
did you have brothers or sisters that were into the fitness thing?
No, I was single. Oh, nope. Single child by myself, only child.
Only child. What about your parents? Were they into that kind of thing?
No, not really. But I was always sporty, right? So I always wanted to do sports, always involved in something. But back in Romania, when I was little, it was only soccer, right? Like I
Yeah.
was bred to play soccer,
Yeah,
right?
it's
So,
funny that there's not a lot of weightlifters that I can think of off the top of my head, but there are some great gymnasts from Romania. Great
right.
gymnasts.
But I never got into that, right?
Okay.
Never into that. Um, and then when like I said, I was born and bred to play soccer until I came here. And then my mom had to work, couldn't go to soccer practices, things like that, right? Couldn't get there. So that's how I ended up in other aspects and wanted to do other things.
Mhm.
And now, at 31, now I'm 41. At 31, I made the change and jumped into fitness because
That
that's
was my
really what
next
I wanted to
question was
do
when did you start down that road? So just 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Well, 2014, I left the bank, literally just left the bank,
Mm.
got a personal training cert, wanted to do bodybuilding, got into that, hired a coach, did it all. And yeah,
That's incredible. 31. I think that I didn't realize that about you. I didn't know that about you. And so that's an important aspect for a lot of my listeners here is knowing that it's never too late. You were on the other side of your youth days. I'll be honest with you. My 20s, I could fall off 7, 8 story building, get back up, dust myself off. Now I trip over a rock at 51. I pull my hamstring. It's crazy. So yeah, you were like in 30s. And so then you start this path that you're 41 years old and you're in great shape. So
well,
person
I've
out
always
there,
wanted to do it.
yeah,
So I
but
said I had
that's
to do
it.
it.
So it was in your mind and
Right,
you took advantage of the opportunity and you went after it. And that's
right,
important. So there are folks
right,
out there, and that's what I'm getting to is you may have been thinking about something your whole life, but you've been hesitant to pursue it. I think that's a great
right.
story that you just shared. Get
Yeah,
after it because anything could be possible.
right.
So Kelly, let's go to you real quick. Where did you grow up? What got you down the line that you're in?
So I grew up in the Lehigh Valley near Allentown, Pennsylvania. And then I actually worked in television for a very long time. So I
What'd you do?
didn't
What did you
really
do in
do much but
television?
sit. Oh, I worked at ESPN for a little while. Worked for like several different networks, HGTV, MTV, things like that.
That's
Animal
cool.
Planet, Discovery. Yeah. So, but I was a video editor for a really long time, and there's not a lot of time to try to figure out when you can work out because, especially like you work in sports. My mom would be like, "Oh, can you come home for Thanksgiving?" No. I work at ESPN. There's 4 games on. I'm not coming
Hmm.
home. So it was always difficult for me to find time to actually walk or do anything because I was constantly sitting and doing sports stuff,
Hmm.
watching other people play sports, not me. And then I don't know, I just feel like as I got older, something your friends group changed and some of mine worked out. I got into it and I met Ovi at the gym.
Mm.
Where else?
Yeah.
Where else? Yeah, well, that's where
Where
you're
else would
gonna.
I
So
be?
that's where you're gonna be at.
Um yeah. So and I was pretty overweight then and I was trying to lose weight and I did lose some weight and then we would argue about how I should be losing weight and how I should be building muscle. And then before I knew it, I was working with him. He was my coach, my nutrition coach. And then I was able to, get down to where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he helped me with that, and I liked it. So I got my nutrition specialist certification, and now we're working together. Now he's stuck with me.
That's the way that works, my friend.
Make sure you show that face when we promote this. They need to see my face when she said that.
It's very exciting for you.
Very exciting. No, what's cool about it is though, because you have to change your mentality, right? And especially as we all get older, right? It's kind of hard to change it, right? And everybody wants the quickest answer to the result, right? Like just tell me how to do it.
Yeah, they want immediate results.
Right.
Yeah.
And we all want it, right? Because if you told me like, all right, let's just do A, B, and C and we'll get to $1 million. Let's just do A, B, and C and we'll get to $1 million, right? But if you don't show me how we get to $1 million, I'm going to lose that $1 million.
You're
right?
absolutely
I
right.
can't duplicate it. I can't triple it, right? I'm only going to make what you showed me how to do, but you didn't teach me how to do it, right? So therefore, when you're gone, I lose my $1 million because I don't know how to keep it, right? Same things here, right? We don't go to work one day and we can retire, right? It happens over time, right? You get disciplined to go to work. Same thing here, right? With Kelly, and we all have done it, right? That's just how Kelly and I met at the gym. Right, and she was dieting, and everybody diets. Everybody wants to diet, right? What's the quickest way to get there? And you do get there, right? Because fat diets do provide results. They do.
Sure.
Okay. They just can't. They're not sustainable. You're not going to keep them. So whatever results you get, enjoy it because it's going to go backwards, right? So, but if you learn to do it consistency and really understand how you drop that weight and why, now you can sustain it. Now you can duplicate it, right? When something no longer works, you know why. You can't measure something or improve it if you don't track it, right? If you don't track it, you can't improve it because you don't know what to improve. So when people are like, well, I don't like tracking this, I don't like counting that, that's fair, right? But just like going to work, you may not like every aspect of your job, but you do it because the end goal will be your 401k grows, right? And then you can retire earlier, the sooner the better, right? So again, we want to get to that end result so we can retire, right? But if we don't learn how we can get there, in this case, we're going to lose that retirement very, very quickly because we learn nothing along the way.
Let me relate something to that, because just what you said, actually, just to bring it to light for somebody to think about something. You've seen that person that has, and you're using money as the analogy, so we'll stay on that for a minute. So you take the person that came from nothing, they had to build their own success, they build their success way up, whatever that is, and then they hit a glitch, and that glitch could be anything. That glitch for some could have been COVID, and they lose everything. Right. Those are the individuals, though, that you will see bounce back in a very short fashion a lot of times because they understand the steps process. A part of the steps process, and this is what I would like to ask both of you about, how important is it, though? Because what you're talking about, though, is like using the fad diets or going to the gym. And how many times have you seen someone walk in your gym and they don't know where to start? So they go and they lift something for like 15 times and then they go to something else and they do something because they don't understand the process and they don't know how everything works together and how the best results can be made by doing specific things. How many times, though, do you see a person start down that road of trying something, see failure, and that's the discouragement rather than the encouragement? Because a lot of times our failures are those things that are giving us the building blocks to be better and better and better. So talk a little bit about how you would relate that to exercise, fitness, nutrition, all of that.
Well, just like we touched in the beginning, how are you going to see the result, right? You go over and over and you don't see anything happen, but why? And that's what I was trying to get to, the understanding of how to get the results.
Well, you have to make them understand how to do it.
Right, but it's consistency over time.
Right, but some people just fail. If they fail and they're like, I'm not doing it anymore. Forget it. It's Christmas and I'm going to eat and then I'm going to take it all the way into February.
That's what people do.
Some people just don't know how to get back on track.
Okay.
So we have to figure out how to help them even when they have Christmas cookies and dinners, that it's okay to just start then again on the 26th and get back to it.
Hit reset.
Yeah. I feel like some clients are like I have a couple clients that just stop and they don't
Well, I
They don't
think
want their calls anymore. They don't want anything. And I don't know how to help them get back on track because it's really just something has to switch inside of you that says, I know I can do this. I'm just going to be consistent. If I fall off, I'll just get back on this next day.
Believe. You got to believe. That is
Yeah.
fact. And you've got to
Because
instill
I mean,
that in
we've
them.
all failed. I've failed over and over and
Sure.
over and over again until I saw the consistency really did help. And that, I don't know if that switch flipped, but I was like, okay, this is how I want to live for a long time. Because I mean, I have 2 boys as well. So, and those kids can't find anything without me. So I really need to live for a very, very long time.
They'll never have shoes again.
They'll never make a dentist appointment. I don't know what'll happen.
they're never going to go to the dentist or leave the house. They're just
Right.
going to just order everything in here.
A lot of moms are laughing right now because they know what you're saying.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true, though.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Well, touch on it.
What do you mean?
So how does somebody build that consistency? Like, how do they get there?
How do they believe in themselves? How do you get them to believe in themselves?
Know that they can.
But
And I think that we encourage through the
Right.
weekly calls as well. Like,
Right.
listen, I mean, there's several clients that have called me, maybe like starting definitely the first week of December. Like, hey, I was on it this week, but I know Christmas is coming, and I feel like my advice to everyone, because I'm trying to be realistic, is just try to get through and maintain. Eat protein when you can, those certain things. Drink all of your water. If you can get a couple walks and get a walks in, but like, I don't want anybody stressing because they think they can't celebrate with their family on one holiday, one day.
Right. And that's what we try to teach them, not to have to stress about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Motivation goes. Right.
Yeah.
You're not always going to be motivated. You're not motivated to do this podcast every day. We're not motivated to Kelly's going to lift after this. She's going to the gym. I said, I want to go. She goes, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know, because I don't feel like it. Right. Like, I don't always feel like going, but we're going to go because the discipline is to go.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't go, right, the discipline has taught me that I have to go. Right. So motivation's not there. I don't want to go. I don't feel like it. I really don't have to. Okay. It's Thursday. Most people have off. I could just enjoy the time between now and Christmas and New Year's, right? Just enjoy it.
Sure.
But if you build that discipline and consistency in it, it's going to go when motivation's not there.
Yeah.
So
those habits and routines.
that's what forces you to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You don't go to work because you want to every morning. Right. You go to
Right.
work because you're disciplined to go to work. Because you go to work, you pay your bills, you have a paycheck, you can eat, right? You can put money away, you can grow. Same thing here. You go because you have a bigger motivation than motivation, right?
Yeah.
What's the drive that you want to get there? Why lose weight? Everybody's too focused on losing weight. Why go to the gym? I'm too busy. I'm focusing on building muscle. Focus on just being better. Better you, feel better, right? Sleep better, be a better person, right? How do I have more energy? Because I always feel sluggish. That's the focus. We all kind of lose track, right? So I feel the why has to be bigger than the motivation or bigger than the setback, because you're going to have setbacks. Christmas is not a setback.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have Christmas again next year, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And birthdays and Thanksgiving and everything, right? Isn't it better to just understand eating and food and skills rather than
like how to get through that and then just get back on
Right.
it the next day?
than just eat X, do X?
Right.
No, understand why.
Why?
What you're
Build
saying,
it,
though,
habits.
resonates with a lot of people is the idea that if they are just told to do this, this, and this, then those things should happen, and it should happen the same for everybody. But I think one thing that we can all agree on is everybody is unique. And so what works for one person immediately may not work immediately for another person,
Right.
whatever that thing is, whether your goal is to lose weight or to become stronger or to get better cardio. But here's the thing. So much of what you're touching on, and by the way, so I don't know if you realize this, Ovi, I'm also a motivational speaker. I speak, yes, that's my little quiet time. So yes, one of the things I like to do though, is build the understanding, like what you're saying, everything you're saying is resonating with me in the sense that you got to build understanding as to why you're doing what you're doing, to understand and believe the result of what you're going to get. If a person can't see that, then they can't relate what they're doing as being significant or important. You know that if you go to work, that you expect to get a check. and you believe you're going to get the check, and the check is going to be at least whatever it's going to be that you know it's supposed to be to pay your bills. That's why you get up and go to work when you don't want to go to work, because you know you got to have the money, you know the money's coming. But for a person that's trying to get healthy, they've not really been able to be successful for long term or ever for that matter. Some have not. It's hard for them to see what that life could look like if they've never seen it before, or to believe it could be true for them. So as a trainer, as a nutritionist, everybody's unique. And look, I'm relating this and I'm coming full circle. I'm going to bring it back to you guys, but so much of what you just said, I want to unpack in this little way here. As an instructor and as a coach, I'm a sports coach, been that for 30 plus years. I've been teaching in a classroom for going on a decade. And the one thing that I've been able to do from my coaching that I relate to everything else in life, and this would be true as a trainer or as a nutritionist or anything in between, mindset goals, is to build the discipline uniquely within each person. Find something that is their challenge, not your challenge. Man, that's hard to do, because early on, I would think, well, this isn't hard for me. And then I would try to relate that to the person I'm talking to. And I'm like, why is this hard for you? But that was the wrong mindset by me. What I had to start to realize was find out where is their points of weakness and how can I help them become stronger in their point of weakness, not my point of weakness. My point of weakness may be way up here. I may be able to strongly accomplish whatever, but the other person down here, they can't see this. They've never been up here. It's like the Iron Cowboy. Y'all know this guy, James Lawrence?
I do not. Kel?
No, I don't know this.
He ran an Ironman in 50 states in 50 days. And then he backed that up by doing 101 consecutive Ironmans back to back in a day. I mean, like in the 101 days, did 101 Ironman. That's not even human. So a person that can do that and they stand on a stage and tell you about it, you're in awe. You're like, well, that's amazing. You're mythical. But they can't relate. They can't relate.
Right.
And he probably would struggle relating to a person that's just now learning how to jog a 5K. He'd be like, I don't know why that's hard. I'm not saying that that's him, but I could understand if it was. Right. So my point to you guys is this: whenever you are trying to invest in someone, and this is y'all's challenge, this is my challenge always, is to be able to understand and listen to where a person's coming from and what their struggle is, and build small incremental wins every day. One of the things I started doing was running 2 miles every day. I do not miss it. On December 31st will be 3 consecutive years. I've not missed running at least 2 miles every single day. Do you think I want to run every day, Ovi? Kelly, do you think every day I wake up,
you could
I feel
also
great?
walk. 2 miles is still 2 miles.
You
could walk.
But do you think I want to? No. There are so many days I'm like, dude, I ran yesterday. I've ran for the last 3 years. Yeah. But I make myself, because it is building those little small disciplines that you know you can. And if I can do this, what else can I do? So in your gym, whenever you're talking to people, you're getting them motivated. You know, look, I look at the spectrum here. So like, Kelly, you're talking about how you had weight struggle and you had to come back and forth and back and forth. And then Ovi, a person looks at your arms right now and they're thinking, hey, sun's out, guns out, baby. So here's the deal.
It's like 12 degrees in the sun out here.
It may be true as a Philadelphia. So for you guys, when y'all go into the gym and you see somebody that's coming in brand spanking new, what is your approach to them and how do you get them to buy into the process? Because Ovi, they can look at you and think, I ain't gonna ever look like that guy. That dude's got some guns.
Right, but I was there.
Yes.
Right? And I told you, I was 126 pounds freshman year of college. Okay, college, not high school, college. Right? And I've always wanted to be this, right? But how did I get there? So everybody is certainly unique in that situation, right? And that's why we always tell people that we always take each person individually, right? And everything we do, there's like a little blueprint, right? And every week we add to the blueprint. But at the same time, if your situation, your unique situation, right? Because everybody's different. I can't do the same thing for you as I do for Kelly, right? You could spend 3-4 weeks in that first week of the blueprint. You don't have to progress every week. So that way in 17 weeks or 12 weeks or 6 weeks, you're done, right? You could spend 5 weeks on the same 1 week habit, right? So it doesn't matter how long it'll take you to make it a sustainable habit, right? You have to take your, not necessarily weaknesses, but things you can improve on, as well as your strengths. And how can you utilize the strengths to improve the other parts, right? And how can you use the other parts to kind of filter into the strengths, right? And kind of balance yourself out, because that's really what you're trying to accomplish.
Sure.
right? So each person has to be dealt with their own little, you know, program specificity. Is that a word? Specificity?
I'm going to let it work. I'm in Mississippi.
I like it. It's specific, right? But it's so true. So for somebody that goes in there and lives this and this and this, let's try something different, right? Let's forget about the weights. Let's just do body weight stuff. Let's nail that down, right? Someone that's progressed already and knows a little bit about the gym, but they just want to tone something or whatever. That's a little bit different, right? You could tweak it a lot different. But for somebody that's never stepped into a gym, but they've dieted, right? They restricted calories. I can't just make them eat everything they're supposed to eat or tell them, hey, you're actually supposed to eat 3,000 calories. You're only at 1,200. So tomorrow you're going to do that.
And that's that 60-pound weight.
Right. That's insanity, right? No one's going to eat all that food.
Right.
And if I told you to drink half your body weight in water and it's supposed to be 100 ounces and you only get 20, I can't expect you to get 100 tomorrow, right? Small wins, right? Let's start with 25. Let's see if we can get to 25 for 3-4 days. That's consistency. That's a win, right? You're able to increase it. Now we go to 35, right? Spend another week at 35. That's a small little habit, right? Drinking water. But a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah.
But for me to expect you to do it right off the bat is impossible. So you got to take small incremental steps, just like in this, right? If we came from the blocks and did all 21 things to improve your business, how many of them did you actually nail down? None of them.
No.
None of them. You have no idea what the 21 are. I have no idea what they are, right? But we do one. Let's just do one. Let's just nail that one. It didn't work, but we knew it didn't work, right? Just like that, business, life, gym, health, all of that, your work, everything follows the same path, right? We're all different. We all do different things for a living. And even if we do the same thing for a living, we do it differently. Okay. We all have our unique way of bringing it and how it's presented. So same here. Same thing with everybody, right? Everybody's so different and so unique. You have to learn what they do, what you do well, what you don't do as well, and kind of mesh them slowly. So that way they can become sustainable and consistent.
Yeah, so often I think when a person starts something and they feel like they're becoming successful and they have that moment of setback, they find it sometimes difficult to hit that reset button like we were talking about earlier. But for me, I'll be honest with you, when I started my 2-mile streak, it started on day one, right? So I start doing the 2-mile streak and all of a sudden I'm a couple months in and then I'm a year in. And then now it's to a point, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm full disclosure on this. It's probably a weird thing. And if there's a psychologist watching, let me know. Let me know if I need some help here. Now it is such a moment of consternation. If it gets to be 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night and I haven't gotten that 2 in, I feel like a sense of strong anxiety. All of a sudden, it's like my heart starts racing. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to do my 2. I got to go do it right now. And the thought of me letting that moment slip becomes scary because it's like, man, I've had the streak going and I know that one day it will end. In fact, I will tell you all this. When I finish every time, and a lot of times it's more than 2 miles, but it's a minimum of 2. When I finish the 2, I always say out loud, one day, but not today. And I'm reminding myself each time, one day I won't be able to do those 2. Something will come up. Life will happen. At some point, Ovi, I know this is hard to believe. I will no longer be on earth. But when that day comes, I won't be able to do the 2. So one day, but not today. And I try to celebrate that. And for a person trying to get into fitness and health, that's what they have to do as well. Set those goals, stay focused on those goals, celebrate each win. And when you have that setback and the day will come when I can't do the 2, something will happen. My thing is, I don't want to let that be the end. The next time I get an opportunity, I want to hit reset and I want to go back another 2 and keep going as far as I can again. So Kelly, I want to take this one to you for a minute. I write down notes. My teachers would be like, this is weird, Chris Camp. You never wrote notes in my classroom, but I do that sometimes now. Priority setting. That is what I think is probably, you spoke on this at the very beginning of our show here. You spoke on this. I think that is probably as much of a mindset of self-discipline. I think priority is right there level with the most difficult things people to do is to set priorities. You talked about you didn't always have the time. You are taping, 4 football games in a day or whatever it is you were doing, but it was taken away from opportunities to work out. And we have to have the self-discipline to make ourselves work out. But you also, in order to have the self-discipline, you have to have priorities. So for a person starting out, what advice would you give them of how can you prioritize your exercise? How do you put that in line with being a mom or working a job or taking care of a house or making dinner or getting your kids to the dentist? How do you do that?
Right. I do. It does take a lot, especially I feel like when you are busy. And if you're a mom, I feel like there's a lot of us that don't take 45 minutes to ourselves. So and I did that with my kids too. I always put them first, even shopping, like, oh, I really like this shirt, but this one needs this and this one needs this. So I'm just gonna put this shirt back. I'll get them what they need and move on. So I feel like a lot of us really do put kids and family first.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have to, I feel like we're better people if we do take care of ourselves first, and then I can take care of everything else that needs to get taken care of. So I think once I started realizing that, like, I need my mental state set to be in this crazy house with all of you boys. So like I need to keep it together, and working out does help that. Taking an hour to get, I don't know, a facial, get your nails done, or take a walk outside just to have that to yourself, I think is really important. And I do feel like exercise really helps that. Those endorphins are coming. So you just have to go out and find it and just give yourself 45 minutes to an hour to yourself to get that.
Absolutely. Ovi, I went to her, not that men don't matter in this, but I'm going to tell you from my experience, this is my experience, women tend to be the caregivers a lot of times, in a sense. They will put everybody else on earth, my mom included, everybody else's needs are way more important than their own. And exactly what you just said, they don't see the importance sometimes of why they should take care of themselves. They're so busy thinking about other people. And then the fact is, you can't be the best version to them if you're not the best version to yourself. You have to take care of you. You have to find time for yourself. Now, look, Ovi, I don't know all your story, but I do know you got some kids, and I've seen your videos, and you're a great dad. You're a great dad, man.
I appreciate that.
You have a blast. I believe that. For dads, I'm going to change the perspective for a minute, because moms, I think I'm hitting on this. I know I'm generalizing, and sometimes I get hate mail. People, let's keep it real. Okay. There are always exceptions in the world, but this is pretty common. The moms will be that person a lot of times. The dads, again, people are like, you're being sexist, coach. I'm not. But dads are protectors a lot of times, and they think about the providing for the family. Am I wrong? And then it's like your role is a little different, but it's the same in the sense you will put yourself in a position where you can't do anything other than make sure you're providing for others. Where you're taking care of other people, a lot of times the moms will. Dads are trying to provide for everybody and protect them. Well, at the same time, you got to take care of you, and you got to protect yourself. And by protecting yourself, that means staying healthy. So, Ovi, was there a moment in your life? Was there a moment in your life where you realized how important it was to be the best version of yourself so you could be that to your kids? Because I see what you do on your videos, and I know that you're doing that.
Well, if I can't, so if I'm not in a state of where I can feel like myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you and I think, kind of touched a little bit when we talked on the phone, and Kelly knows the story, right? Last couple of months have been a little bit difficult for something happened, right, on the personal side. But if I don't feel like me, let's say, or you don't feel like you, or Kelly doesn't feel like it, you can't provide the same for the other person, right? So, or whoever is in your life. So whether you're a mom, you're a dad, or whatever, you got to take that time and understand that it's not selfish, right? A lot of people think it's selfish. Like sometimes I feel like selfish, like I have to work out, but I want to spend time with him, right? So I got stuff at home, so that way I do it with him there. But like, let's say you have to go somewhere or whatever. If you're not you, how can you be them there for them, right? If you can't help yourself, or you don't feel well, or you're in the hospital, or your mental state is where you just want to go to sleep or shut it off, right? How can you be there for them? How can you play? How can you keep a good face? How can you be excited in that moment? If you don't feel like yourself, if you're not yourself, right, then that person's going to feel it. So just like you're a mom, you're a dad, you have all these things. If Kelly doesn't take the time for herself, right, I'm afraid for other people's lives, right? So it's true, right? Joking around, right? But like, if you're not taking,
right next to me,
right? I'm fully aware, but we're on video, so you can't do anything about it. But think about that, right? Like, if I can't do it, right? How is he going to be taken care of? Or if Kelly can't do it, how are her boys or her husband or whoever going to be okay? if she can provide. And it could be from a mom standpoint, it could be from a dad standpoint, it could be from an aunt that's taking care of something, and someone, it doesn't matter who you are, right? If you are not yourself, you are not going to be there for them in the best way possible. So you have to take that time for yourself, whatever it is, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, right? Whatever. But it has to be your time for you to move forward. Because if you're not, you don't improve, you can't be there for that person.
I have a big thing where I say you got to have healthy mind, body, and soul. And if you have those three things,
all of them, you can't have one.
You can't have
two.
one.
You got to try to have all three. You have to try to have all three. You have to work on all three. Because you can't have all three, but you have to work on all three.
Yeah, it's so important to be a complete vessel that way. And I'll tell you something, it's not easy, but it does take focus, intentionality. You got to be balanced. You said those things. And the way I was tying this together was the fact that it's a part of our purpose. I do truly feel like us being a healthy, and I'm going to just use the word creature. If we are going to be a healthy being, we have to focus on all three of those things. We have to be intentional about those things. Part of that is reflecting. And whenever we just get so tied up in living in the moment, going through the process, it's easy to get down the road and not even remember where we've come from, not even think about how hard it was at one other time that we made it through those moments. And now we can get through, and now we can use those moments to share with someone else and help them build that lifestyle that I've been building. And sometimes you don't even realize it. Kelly, Ovi, I know you guys have had this moment where you've just hit pause for a second and you think back and you're like, man, I was right here at this point, and now I'm here. I've come so far. I've been through so much. And I bet you share that with the people that you guys are influencing in the health industry. Would I be wrong on that?
Oh, I use myself a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
You have to, though. You have to, right? And they have to understand that you don't want to. I don't always want to feel, like I said, I don't want to go to the gym right now. But as soon as we're out of here, we're going to go.
They have to relate.
Right. I don't always want to eat the quality nutrients dense food. Sometimes I want some crappy, cheesy, greasy, fries and burger and pizza. And I don't know what you guys have down there. We have 5 Guys here, right? They have Eaten Out Burger and out west. I don't know what you guys have down there.
Well,
but
just all the chains. I don't know if too many we don't have any like specialty. We just have some nasty,
but
greasy
you want
burgers.
something, right? And you don't always feel like doing it, but like if you make something part of your life, it's just what you do.
That's right.
But telling clients too, like, hey, I wasn't in it today. I did it, but sometimes I don't want to do it either. Like, I didn't get all my water in today either.
But think about it.
It's okay. Start over the next day.
But think about it. We all just said, and you said it just now, right? You have mind, body, soul, right? All that. Anyone that's listening to this, and us 3 included, we're not just going to hang up here and then we're magically all balanced, right? Our mind's good, our body's good, our soul, right? Like whatever we're struggling with, we're working on it too. And it's not going to happen tomorrow or by Tuesday or by next Wednesday, right? It's going to be over time. And 3 weeks from now, we're going to feel the same way. We're going to feel crappy, right? And it's like, all right, well, we start here, right? And we keep working and we keep working. Same thing with everything we do for a living or we're doing here as far as nutrition and fitness or motivation or all that goes, right? It's steps over time. That's all we're talking about, right? And everything we're doing is consistency. You're not motivated to motivate all the time, but you're consistent. We're not motivated to go to the gym. I really don't want to go to the gym today. I'm going to stress it as much as I can. You really don't want to go. Okay. But we're going to go. Okay. Because it's over time. And are days that I miss? Absolutely. Because when I have my son, I don't go to the gym. Right. I plan my day. So I always go. So those days with him are rest days, or we'll do something at home together. Right. He's in wrestling.
That's part of that balance. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's over time. It doesn't happen overnight. And the more times you try to take the shortcut, the more times you're going to fail. So if you just go into consistently do the small things, you're going to get there. But if you're going to try to jump it, you're not going to get there.
Persistence is key. You're absolutely right. It's funny that you mentioned that because I think right now I can speak to this 100% across America. I don't know how it is in the other parts of the world. We got viewers all over the world. My folks in Australia, I don't know how things are. Y'all can chime in and let me know later. But across America right now, there's no secret. Ozempic and the other weight reducing shots that are
Right.
the fad as such. And my wife works at a health clinic. And so a lot of times they're giving out the shots and stuff. They do a lot of other things too, but that's part of it. And you will see people drop 30, 40, 50 pounds. Now, here's my take on it. And I would really be interested to hear y'all's take on it. You're right. When you are taking that shortcut, you are bypassing all those tools you need to be able to maintain and get back to a place whenever the wheels come off. And the wheels come off because guess what we're living in? It's called life. And life happens to every person. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you're doing. Life's going to pop up on you. And when that happens, you're going to have setbacks. Now, how do you get back to a good place, or how do you get back to the place you were before? You got to have those tools in place. Well, when you're taking those shots, you're not getting tools to be able to build that healthy lifestyle necessarily. But here's my take on that part. I do see the value in the sense that a person could become so discouraged that they don't feel like they can get a jump start, and they lose 40 pounds on it. And then they're like, hey, I feel good enough now. I'm going to really start working on this for my lifestyle changes. I think lifestyle changes is where you're going to maintain and be sustainable. So I would like to get from both of y'all the takes on one. I want to know, what's your, and it's an opinion, and there's nobody that has a wrong opinion. This, you can have an opinion in America, regardless of what the news tells you. It's okay to have an opinion. I would like to know y'all's opinion on the shot, and then I want to get from you, Kelly, what tools you would give somebody that's just starting in nutrition, how you would go about it in step by just small steps, and then we're going to come to you, Ovi, on how to give somebody some very small steps on exercise, what they should start with if they've never been in a gym. So first, let me get your take on the shot.
Love this question.
I'm concerned for this question.
I love this question.
It's
so
okay
I'm
because
gonna
it's an opinion.
but I'm gonna keep it. We made a promise, and I'm sticking to my challenge. I have
love
not
it.
lost the challenge yet, right?
So I'll put you
I
there.
have not said anything of the F variety.
You have not.
Fruit. Right. So here's the deal. And I speak freely about this, so forgive me, but I'm going to talk about it.
It's okay.
So for someone like me, I take testosterone replacement therapy, right? I took steroids to get on shows, right? To step on stage, fully allowed. So full disclosure, right?
Sure.
Okay. When someone takes those types of supplements, you don't just take the steroids and muscles are just going to happen. Okay. You have to go to the gym. You have to diet properly. You have to do all the protocols. You have to make sure you stay on top of it, because if you don't, you're going to affect you negatively in a health way. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Ozempic, Manjaro, Wegovy. I don't care what it's called. Okay. Sure. I go to the place. It's called Ageless Men, right? I know the nurses. One of them is on testosterone replacement therapy for herself. Okay. And most people that administer those shots, or most doctors that do those shots or know anything about it, will preach the same thing. While you take the shot, because they were made for pre-diabetics, right, who were having a very difficult time to drop weight, right? Mm-hmm. So it did create a health environment for them. Mm-hmm. And in this case, it can create a health environment for you too. The problem is you don't take the drug and close your eyes, right? You take the drug and now you understand how to have healthy behaviors along the way. Is it easier to drop weight so you're more excited? Absolutely. But if you don't learn the right, proper way to eat along with the health,
it's going to go away. Mm-hmm.
It's going to go away, and it's going to go away twofold. And now you've not only just lost weight and put it back on maybe 2 times, right? But you also created certain negative health concerns because you didn't take care of yourself and learning what to eat. Could you eat the same amount as without the shot than with the shot? Probably not, right? Because it's supposed to help you eat less and mask brain and all that stuff from thinking you're full and, for feeling hungry and all that stuff. I get it. Okay. But along with that, any good facilitator of those drugs will also instate that you should work with a health coach, a nutritionist, a nutrition specialist, a fitness coach, a personal trainer, right? To instill healthy behaviors and healthy lifestyle behaviors and choices and options so that you do know what works for you. Because when you do drop the 40, 50 pounds, you're not going to be on the same dose as you were before you dropped the 50 pounds. So how are you going to be able to maintain the 50-pound weight loss if we don't know, or you don't know anything about healthy behavior habits? Because now you're the same person you were 50 pounds lighter as you were 50 pounds ago, clueless as to what to do next. And if you can't take the drug anymore and you're no longer healthy, what's the end goal there? because you just lost weight to put it back on, taking a drug that gave you no benefits. So even with that, anybody that administers it correctly, and yes, it should be done correctly, right? Should also have healthy behavioral skills, that you are giving your body proper nutrition along with the help.
Yeah.
If you took it to just get a jump start,
Kelly,
and use it as a jump start.
Kelly, I'm going to come to you, but I want to
Yeah.
just add to that, because it's so true what you just said, is the fact that that's every aspect of our life. That's not even just exercise, health, fitness. A person that is doing something, like, let's just say, I'm going to make up something. Let's say you're a shoe salesman. All right. I don't know why that came to me. So you're a shoe salesman and you want to change. You want to open up a vet, and you want to be a veterinarian, and you go down this road and you fall apart and you can't pass the test, and you're like, I'm not going to be a vet. Well, a lot of times, what does a person do? They go back to what they know. And so they go back to being a shoe salesman. That's what they knew. Well, it's no different in every aspect of your life. We go down the path of least resistance. When we try something hard or out of our comfort zone and we fail, so often we go back to what we knew. Well, I think that's going to be the same, at least psychology, when it comes to dietary habits, exercise habits. You get this shot. It's taking you out of a spot that you've ever been. Possibly you've dropped this weight, but you never built the tools in. And so what are you going to do? You're going to go back to the same old habits that you had before, eating the same old stuff that you ate before, not exercising the way you're supposed to, and all that weight's coming back. And really, you're doing more detriment to your body in the long run. So you're right, Ovi. I really appreciate your answer on that. Kelly, I would love to get your take on it.
My take is pretty much the same. Like honestly, if that shot was around when I was trying to, I would have taken it in a second. That would have been it. It was quick. I'll do that. But I know as soon as I would have gotten off it, I would never learned anything. I would have never done anything. And it would have been just the same fad diet that I've done 10 times over in the past. So I don't have a big issue with the shot, as long as you're learning how to eat, when you are hungry, eat what eat some good protein, get your vegetables in, get your vitamins, get your minerals, drink your water. As long as you're learning those habits as you're on it, because when you get off the shot, that's it, you're done.
Yeah.
You're moved out into the world, figure it out.
That's
and
right.
I feel like that weight comes back because people don't know how to maintain it.
Yeah.
They don't have the habits that are already built. Like day one of that shot, you should be building those habits so that when that time comes to an end and you're off, you're already got those habits built. You're already on to a healthier lifestyle, because
absolutely
the shot's going to end. Your lifestyle is not going to end.
That's correct.
Hopefully.
At some point it will, but in the meantime, you got to build the lifestyle around that. Right. And you're right. And so that's the thing. That's why I wanted to kind of touch on that for everybody, because I know that is something that's very madly popular across America. I would imagine probably other parts of the world. I don't know how that works, but the point is that it does give you a jump start, but it doesn't do anything for you if you don't learn some stuff while you're getting the jump start. Take advantage of that moment, because you're right. It's not going to be forever. So Ovi, let me come to you about real quick. And I'm building the lifestyle the thought process. When you're building a lifestyle, how does a person get into the gym and start doing something? What would you recommend for a first week, a first month kind of approach to an individual? Because we're in 2025. People have hit the gyms. We know how this works. They do a New Year's resolution. You have a 400% increase in gym membership. And then by week 3, 2/3 of those people are gone. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
So what would you tell them?
I think if you're brand new to anything, I definitely would suggest to talk to somebody, right?
Okay.
I think you should get help from somebody that knows what to do. And if you don't want to get help from someone what to do, look at videos, watch form, learn form, right? It's not about the weight. You can pick up a weight. Anybody can pick up a weight. But can you pick it up properly, right? Using the right muscles, right? It's not about the weight size. 12 versus a 50, who cares? If you can't control it, if you can't move it properly, engage the right muscles, limit the risk of injury, you're not going to get anywhere. Moving it is simple. Moving it properly is hard, right? So an understanding how to do it so you don't get hurt, because if you get hurt, you're going to be out of the gym anyway. So who cares if you moved it?
Great,
right? Because you're not going to be able to do anything else. So my first advice to anybody is start slow. Learn form over anything else. The weight is irrelevant as long as you learn proper technique. And I definitely would talk to somebody. Everybody's so against, like, I don't want to talk to anybody, especially guys. I don't need a trainer. I know what I'm doing. You have no idea what you're doing. So if you had an idea of what you're doing, you would have done it already.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's not about just be humble. Understand that you need help. If I was to go back to competing, I would get a coach, right? Because it's not about anything else, right? But do it properly. You have somebody to guide you along the way, know how to make adjustments for you, stuff like that. That's my best advice.
Ovi, let me tell you, can I add something on that? Because you
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. Me being a coach, as a coach, a real coach, like sports coach,
yeah,
but then
yeah,
also endurance athletic coach.
yeah.
I think a lot of times what I have picked up on is people sometimes feel either embarrassed or you're right. They just don't want to hear what somebody else has to say. They want to figure it out for themselves. There's
Right,
nothing wrong with the trial and error part of things, but if you really want to if you want to be successful at something or get better at something, you need somebody that's been there, done that, and has some of the tools. You don't have to figure out everything
right,
yourself. Other people have done that for you. And so
right.
what I would tell people, and I think you would probably share this mindset, is coaches like to help. They don't look down. I don't look down on a person. When a person comes and asks me questions, I'm not like, whatever. I'm like, yes, let's sit down and talk about it, man.
Yeah.
I'm enthusiastic about helping you figure out your steps of health. Would you be the same?
It's funny. Most people don't come up to at me at the gym. I think I have my resting, face
Yeah,
on.
you got that face there.
Uh, yeah, I got that face.
But if
Uh,
somebody came up to him, he would jump all
I would talk to you for 30 minutes. Like,
Yeah, I know you
do
would.
not get me started on something, right? Like, but nobody comes up to me. But I would love it for people to come up to me. I think people do things wrong all the time, and I would love to just help it from a good place.
Sure.
Not my business to jump into someone or make it right. But if you approach me, and most guys that lift or go to the gym properly and things like that would love to give somebody else their knowledge. You asking me
100%.
about, hey, you look like you have muscles. Really? You can see that? All right, fantastic. Let's talk about it, right? Like we eat that shit. Well, I didn't curse yet,
Yeah.
right? We eat that up though, right? Like we
Yeah, you're
eat
right.
that up. It's true, right? So as coaches, I want you to ask me,
Hmm.
right? I want you to have questions. How
Yeah.
can I improve? How can I make better? Can I make it better? How can I get the results? I will tell you the proper way. What you
right.
do with that, that's on you. Because I had someone
Hmm.
tell me a long time ago the proper way, and I knew better just to find out 5, 6 years later they were correct.
And that's
Right?
something, yeah.
Right. So
Coaches want to
I
help.
lost my train of thought.
It's
People
okay. Your
coming up to
coaches
you and
Oh
coaches
yeah.
want to
you would
help.
talk about your muscles all day.
Who wouldn't? Right? Who wouldn't want to give advice, especially
You're
something
right.
they're passionate about? Like
Yeah.
I'm dead serious.
All the time
Right.
people are
So
asking me about running. And when that person approaches me about running, I have two trains of thought on that. I'm like, first thing I want to know is what's your base? Where are you starting from? Because I can't give you advice a year down the road if you're just now starting your first time
right,
running.
right.
So I got to know what's your base. And then the second part is I always try to give them this out because just like you're saying, in being enthusiastic about something, man, you can get on a roll and then the person blanks out. And I'm like, all right, I think I just caused you to have a
Yeah, because
seizure.
you lost them, right?
Yeah.
Because you're
I'm
talking
like,
about something you know everything
exactly.
about.
Come in.
Right.
Exactly. I'm like, I always start with, tell me what you're interested in knowing. And if there's something else in there, I'll add it to you. And I try to limit that knowledge, which is that was a balance. That took years of coaching, Ovi. That took me coaching baseball and softball, probably 15, 20 years before I realized I can't give them the major league level stuff whenever they're 11. I got to make sure I know that they know how to do what they need to do at 11. So
Right.
it's that balance and approach and trying to pay attention. And so I want to go to you real quick, Kelly, about what would you give somebody on the nutritional side of things? Because people, like what you said, they think, I can't give up pizza. I can't give up hamburgers. They think about the things that and it's like, I can't think, well, what can you do? Let's work on where we
Right.
can fix. So what kind of advice would you give them?
I do say, I think like one of the first things I say is just, try to get your water in. Do that first. Like that's like just baseline. But when people tell me that they can't or I can't give this up, like, well, you probably can, you just don't want to. But
That's
you don't have
fact.
to give up everything. You don't have to give up, like, I don't want to give up wine ever.
Yeah.
I
It's
like it.
portion control though, right? It's always about
Right.
portion.
So
If you're
just,
pounding a
but I
box of
don't,
wine every night, that could
I
become
don't
a
want to give that
problem.
up.
I want to give that up. But I also know that if I can fit it into what I'm doing for the day, like I don't need to have wine every single day. I don't need
Sure.
to have, a cookie every day, especially this time of year. Like I just want to make sure that I'm getting my water in first, for example. Try something small first. If it's drinking your water or getting in a walk for 30 minutes, do that small step first. That way you can build on those other steps along the way. If you're already walking, you're already getting your water and you want another small step, try to lift weights once a week. Why don't we try that and see how you can incorporate that? And then before you know it, you get all your water in, you're walking every day for 30 minutes and you're lifting 5 times a week because you started with those small steps.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is how I did it. I was curious as to what you guys would say before I added this part. But so whenever I have a goal, like I'll set goals, and this is one of the things I tell folks that want to get into a running routine. The routine is the key, is that just running daily and having nothing to work toward will become mundane and it's easy to check out. So I always encourage folks, set a goal and have dates, not one, multiple dates of things like if 5K is your thing. I want to do a 5K. We're starting and we're at the end of December. We'll say in April, I want to do my first 5K as an example. Set a date, find a place, sign up for it, put your money on it, because then all of a sudden you're a little bit more focused, and then write out a schedule. Like I need to run this much this day, this much this day, and then set it out for the weeks. Whenever I ran an Ironman, are you guys familiar with Ironman triathlon? When I ran an Ironman, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to swim distance. I knew how to swim if I jumped off the party boat and could get back. I knew how to bike on a BMX. I had no idea how to clip my feet in. I started with baby steps on all of that. I gave myself 1 year to train. And I sat down and I made out a calendar and I wrote down what I was going to do each day throughout the weeks, throughout the months, and where I needed to be from month to month and how many miles of stuff I needed to hit. I was so focused on each day's event. It kept things so small. I wasn't thinking about game day of 140.6 miles. I was thinking about today I've got to run 7 miles and I got to bike 15. Today I will do this. I will focus only on this. And whatever was tomorrow's schedule, I didn't think about tomorrow's schedule.
Yeah,
so
that's tomorrow's problem.
That's tomorrow's problem. So for you guys, that's what I was kind of thinking. I was curious as to where you were with like exercise and diet. Write you out a schedule. I think sometimes setting out those goals, whether you come up short or you exceed it, it's validating because you're like paying attention. It's that intentionality. And then have cutoffs. Be like, all right, I'm going to do this at this time. I'm going to do this at this time. And if you miss that, what did you do wrong to not reach those goals? And you really have to have it that way throughout your life. That also creates the balance that is needed, because now you're focusing on, this is how much time it's going to take for me to do these things I want to accomplish. And I'm not just willy-nilly in it each day. I actually have a focused approach. I know what I'm trying to accomplish each day. And I'll tell you something, without that calendar, I don't think I would have been successful with the Ironman, but I was so dedicated to those days. I'm just going to tell the short story. One day I got told to get out of the pool at the YMCA because there was a aerobics thing and all these elderly women were getting in the pool. And I'm like, look, let's just face it. These women are going to be peeing in y'all's pool. I'm trying to swim a lap. Get out. I'm swimming my lap. And I went and told the people, I'm like, give me my money back. I'm out. I've got to swim. I'm not going to make the Ironman if I don't swim my laps today. And so then they scooted up and let me swim my laps. But I mean, I was so focused. It was so important that I knocked those goals down to be ultimately successful. And yeah, it works. And I think that that's a big part of the story. You can do that and you can actually grow, and then you'll see the growth even in the short term while you're doing those things.
Well, it's funny, we circled back because what those things that you said was what? One, you were prepared, right? Because you prepared for the year, right? You wrote it down, so you were prepared on what you had to do. And two, you measured it. Because if you weren't where you were supposed to be, right, you found a way, you knew exactly what you had to do to get
old
there.
Ladies right out.
Right. So you were prepared.
I love them though.
Just like so you were prepared in what you wanted to do. So just like here, you have to be prepared for the week, for the month, for the day, right? In order to be successful in building those habits. And two, people don't like tracking food. Well, you have to track it to measure it. Or I mean, measure it to track it and improve it. Same thing here, right? You wrote it down, you tracked it, and then you improved it if you had to, or you knew exactly where to dial it back, kick it in higher gear, whatever, right? So preparation and of course tracking it was the reason you could also do it. Because if you didn't track, you didn't put it in for the year, you weren't prepared, you didn't know exactly what you had to do each day, each week, each month, right? To be where you needed to be by 140 some miles, right?
That's right.
And something else on when you guys were talking about the food stuff, everybody's so quick to talk about what they want to give, what they might have to give up, or might not going to be able to drink, am I not going to be able to eat this or that? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. Maybe the answer is no, right? Well, why not change the mentality instead of looking at, well, will I have to give up pizza or cheese fries or burgers or whatever? Why not understand how you can use pizza and cheese fries and burgers to your advantage? So that way you can see results and progress and weight loss while eating pizza and cheese fries and all that. So instead of feeling it that you have to give it up, why not take the time to understand how you can use it to your advantage? So you don't have to give it up, but actually utilize it in the goal.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is the bigger take from what we actually try to do with people. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. We could all lose weight. We could all run a marathon. We could all do that, right? But if we're not prepared to do all of that, right? And if we don't take it one step at a time, or we don't learn how to use what we have to our advantages, we're not going to be able to get there.
I like the rewards.
Backwards.
I like that. I like the reward system. I use fried chicken as mine. It's a true story. My wife will tell you, after every marathon, my after marathon meal is fried chicken and mashed potatoes. 100%. I don't eat it often, but every time I finish, that is what I'm going to. The one exception, sir and ma'am, was in Philadelphia. What do you think I got when I finished the marathon in Philly?
See the cheesesteaks.
I had to because it was in Philadelphia.
I have a burger.
I know, but I don't have those. I don't have those cheesesteaks in Mississippi, so that's what I got. That's actually what I got.
Even cheesesteaks here, it's not the chain, the big popular ones that are good. Are other ones that are better.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why I like
the best one I had was from a food truck.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, not probably amazing.
Not like Geno's and Pat's where everybody goes.
Don't.
I'm gonna say it because I like Pat's better.
It's okay. But, it's all right. It's an opinion. I'm okay with opinions. I'm okay with opinions.
What's the one closest, D'Alessandro's or whatever? Yeah, that's the one I like the best. Yeah, I think that they put a lot of meat on there. Like it's a big fucking.
Yeah.
Damn it! I dropped it.
We got to the. It's all right. We'll lay at it. They'll never notice. They'll never notice.
I was doing so good. I apologize.
Really almost made. I got you excited about cheesesteaks.
Oh. But no, D'Alessandro's is so good because it's a big hoagie. Come on, it's a big hoagie. They load it up with whatever you need to. Like you're gonna have to eat half and take the other half because it's like 2 full sandwiches. Like
now that sounds like the South.
That's a cheesesteak. That's what I was trying to get to. Like there's other ones better than the big popular ones that everybody gets to.
So look, we're at the end of our time, but I want to hit on one thing. I'm curious of. I just started this, and I say just started this like in the last couple months. Cryotherapy. You have an opinion on that? I have found great benefits for myself.
I think you should do it, especially if it benefits you. You feel good with it. I think you should do it. I think it's expensive, so a lot of people can't afford to or can't afford as many sessions to really get the full benefit. But I think it's great. Just like all the other stuff like recovery process, and I think it's super important. All of that should be just as much as of your process in getting in shape or feeling better or be healthier than as the food, as the exercise and all that recovery. I think it's fantastic.
I want to ask, did you go into the big freezer or or is it like a wand?
No, I do a cold dip. And for Christmas, I actually got I got a plunge pool that's about, 2.5 feet tall and about 3.5 feet wide. And so you just enough for ice water. And then you just, dip straight down into it.
I think you should do it. It's so good. All aspects of recovery. But if you can do that, I think you should do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It does always feel like revitalized. And I was wondering how much of that was placebo versus actual reduction of swelling.
Yeah, but if it's
does it really matter?
Yeah.
I guess not. I guess that's a good point. That's a great point.
If you see results and it's working, it really doesn't matter.
You like it, go for it.
If I told you to drink this Diet Coke, you're going to lose 3 pounds. And for some magical reason, you lost 3 pounds. It wasn't because of the Diet Coke.
No. But I want to believe that.
Yeah, right. So you're like, oh, I'm just going to drink more Diet Coke. So I'll drink the whole pack. I lose 12 pounds, right? But
I was just curious. Yeah, I was curious if y'all's thought on that. Well, look, we've covered a lot of ground. And I really think that there's a lot of beneficial information all throughout that anybody could get at all levels. It doesn't matter if you're just now starting out into some kind of fitness idea or nutrition, or you've been doing this for years. I think that there are a lot of nuggets of knowledge within our interview today. And I do appreciate you guys coming on, but I want to give you an opportunity to leave the world with your message. So we'll start with you, Kelly. We'll end with you, Ovi, and then give us your information on how they could follow you and find your stuff and all of the above. So Kelly, give me your final nugget of motivation that you would have for the Motivate with Coach Camp show.
I would say just find something small you can start with. Find something that you think, you know what, I can do this for one day. I'm going to get up the next day. I'm going to try to do it again. Find that small step, because those small steps are going to lead to big leaps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What you got, Ovi?
I just leave with consistency. That's all. You don't have to reinvent the wheel in anything you do. Just be consistent, learn your strengths, and utilize them to get you where you need to be. Everything is allowed. You should be able to do all of it. Just understand what works best for you. Take time, be consistent, and don't rush the result. Quicker the result, quicker the fall back. So
it's a great point. And I would think that I would tie this together with a nice bow for you guys, in that one thing that I see from both of y'all that I know I also get, which is invest in others. Whenever you start to get some results yourself, and if you're just now going down your health journey, as you start to get results, I would say turn around and find someone next to you that's looking to get some motivation and some inspiration, and use what you're getting to help them. Because whenever you start to help others grow, man, it really does come full circle for you. Where they say it's better to give than to receive, that's because what you're actually receiving is the gift of giving. And I cannot overemphasize that. I have done that my whole life, and I feel so much more rewarded when someone else reaches their achievements, and I know that I played a small role in that. So I would give them that. So what would you guys say to the people about your gym? How can they reach you? How can they follow you? Give us that information.
So we're Ovi_Physiques on Instagram. And then and we also have a podcast called Eat the Food.
Okay.
And I think we have like 30 episodes already that we talk a lot about food and nonsense.
And also promote other businesses too, so we get on there and it's not just about nutrition.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just talk like this, right? Like
Yeah.
just about life and growth in general. OviPhysiques.com, right? So everything is on there as well, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
all
the podcast is on there. If they want to schedule a call with Kelly or myself, all of that is free. But it's on the website. And again, all the reels, videos, it's at Ovi_Physiques. Coach Ovi is my personal one, so they can find me on there as well. I do have a real people, real food, right?
Yes.
Facebook group.
Okay.
So that's an option too. But ideally Instagram and the website.
Yeah.
Because you can access everything from there. So
okay, so the
Ovi_Physiques.com,
and then all of your tabs are in there.
No. So Ovi_Physiques is the Instagram.
Yeah.
And OviPhysiques.com. Ovi Physiques, no underscore, is the website.
But you can connect to everything there.
Okay, but from the website,
I could just text it to you.
Fair enough. That way I don't misspell it, because I am from Mississippi. But yes, I will have that in the notes for everybody to be able to see. And look, I hope you guys get a great following. And you're on Spotify, I imagine.
Yes. And Apple Podcasts.
And Apple Podcasts. Very good. Well, Miss Kelly, Ovi, thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your day. Ovi, I'm going to tell you, get to the gym, go do that thing. And at some point,
I'm not going.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You got to go. You got to go now, man. The whole world is waiting on you to get there.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going to report back. I went.
I know you will. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm looking forward to seeing where you guys take it. And hey, look, if I'm in the Philadelphia area, I'm going to look you guys up. How about that?
I would love that.
Love it.
Awesome. To my listeners, y'all continue to tune in. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate your nice comments. You guys are always viewing, giving me suggestions even, and I like that kind of stuff as well. I'm going to ask you this time to go to my website, motivatewithcoachcamp.com, subscribe to my YouTube, and until next time, Coach Camp.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape,